Spoke Targ, our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for another Orc Mode workout, and today was Dynamic Effort Squat and Deadlift Day. Made the changes I said I was going to make, and I'm really happy with today's workout overall. But just a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below. Help me keep the likes higher than the dislikes because of that one or two losers who run that script still every single day. You guys can offset that, so please do so. So let's get over to the training. First of all, safety bar squat against bands. I actually calculated a higher max. I feel like I missed that max because I'm not used to the safety bar. Had I done some stuff different, I probably would have got it. So I just calculated as if I did. And I know that sounds ridiculous. But these weights were so light that as I got used to doing it with this bar, the speed work just went really, really well. So I calculated correct. And I needed several sets to really get in the groove, and then as I got further into it, it really, really shot up. So I have a feeling I'm going to get used to really quickly using this bar. And the reason I say some of that is I started warming up with the bar, doing some stuff a little bit different with the bar, and it felt better. So one of the things I've come to realize is that the problem we have with the safety bar is that we try to stay so far upright because it tries to force you to, if you have a weak T-spine, that what happens? It does totally mess your whole center of gravity up. But if you just let the upper back round just a hair instead of trying to arch it back super hard like we would do with any other bar, your T-spine just has to work harder. And that's what we want. We want to build that T-spine. So I'm not letting it completely change my bar path completely. It is some. And I feel like that's more powerful, more explosive. But again, you got to have a strong upper back. Right? But that's to keep the quads from compensating. But I'm able to sit back better. Not as good as I do with the other bars. But the speed was good as I went. And I had to get a little more aggressive with it as we went with it. And the same thing happened with the sumo pulls. I'm really happy with the sumo pulls. One of the things I said the other day with the sumo is that when I came to test the sumo, I wanted to see how my squat stance would work. So I set my stance the exact same I do on all those max squats. And it didn't go very well. So I went to the stance that I know I get the most speed, or should, out of the sumo when I got to it, and the speed was much, much better. I needed several pulls to get into the groove, and then as I went, it went better and better and better. And what I've been looking at lately is going back through when I've hit different PRs at what lifts I had and what strength standards I have. And you guys will see me incorporating stuff that I used to use in the past, such as, again, a lot more just normal strict standing press, right? The floor press. I'm going to add glute bridges back in. Why? Because I look back, and when I hit my biggest deadlift, before I started doing the tons and tons of really strong good mornings and everything else, I did a lot of glute bridges. And what you guys notice, if you go back and look at that 615 PR I hit, not only was my grip better, but my lockout was so much stronger. And I feel like the glute bridges just did a lot for just deadlift lockouts for me. I feel like it carries over so tremendously. And so I feel like I need to add it back in and get just as strong, if not stronger, than I used to be on them. Okay, I'm at the strongest I've ever been on good mornings, including even with the safety bar. I'm using weights I was never able to handle before, even when I did the crack the over 600 deadlift for the first time here on camera, right? First time in many years I've cracked a 600 deadlift. We got 615. We got 605, then we got 615 a few weeks later. But I was getting really strong at the glute bridges. My good mornings were not even as strong as they are now. My reverse hypers weren't as strong as they are now. I don't even think I had the reverse hyper yet. It's right before I bought it. My glute ham raises were not as strong as they are now. The glute bridges and the box squats and stuff carried me a lot. All the rowing. So we need to get back to that. I need to get back to doing more sumo work. And that's kind of the thing I'm looking at with these squats. Okay, I'm not really quad limited. And I can get more quad work in and lower body work in general by doing sumo speed pulls. Being selective with my accessory work. Continuing to do my sled drags. The sled drags give me a better quad pump than any of my quad work does. Like, I'm not going to lie, like, even the step ups, they don't compare with my sled work. Like my sled work gives me a quad pump that's way more than that. So what do we need to be doing? We need to be doing the things that we know have got me there in the past, right? And then get better at those. So every supplemental lift that seems like it's helped build different parts of my deadlifting, I need to use all of them. It means the tons of grip work. Obviously the good mornings and reverse hypers and glute ham raises help, but we've gotten stronger at those. And I think that the good mornings are what's largely carried my deadlift lately. All right, possibly reverse hypers and stuff. But I need to get good at sumo pulling again, because that will carry over to my wide stance box squatting. Okay. But these first couple, they're not as fast. Those are pretty fast. I mean, those lockouts are fast. But as I get into the flow, it gets faster and faster. Now people are going to say, why aren't you using bands in this wave? Because I don't have the best setup. When my new rack setup gets here, I will be in a good position to start doing bands again. Okay? And we will. All right? We'll do bands, because then I'll be able to use the actual rack to set up bands and pull inside the rack. So when that happens, it happens. At least I know roughly when I'm going to have it now. So, that's all good. But these went a lot better. And I feel like I get a better start position. Now, some people will say, well, Jason, you're still not squatting deep enough. Well, we'll work on that over time, number one. And yes, for some people, that is the best way to sumo. And for a lot of people, it is. But I also have seen people who sumo ridiculous weights who are still relatively high hip, who are world-class level sumo pullers. So we work within the confines of our mobility, but I'll continue to work on that. But that's only going to happen by practicing it. And I feel like the speed pulls will help. Just learning to just squat down and pull. And do it fast. So we need to get fast, fast, fast. And we're seeing it this time. We're now seeing it on these sets. Now I'm getting faster. We're getting decent speed work in. We're getting more explosive on these. So I need to use, again, that safety bar because it addresses my weak link. All right, we'll use that to build the squatting up, get that upper back stronger. And it'll still build quads and everything. It'll still build the movement pattern to squat. But we've got to address the weak links, and that's upper back on the squat, and hips to some extent. But how do we train hips? Well, we train hips and the hip extensors with all the stuff I'm doing. And this will help more than some other stuff. Doing the speed pulls sumo, this will carry over. The glute bridges I'm going to do, I feel like, will carry over, because they work the hips and the hip extensors very, very hard. All my hanging leg raises will help. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing that should help just develop the hips. I feel like the glute ham raises work mine tremendously. I get an actual really intense pump in my hip flexors on the glute ham raises. I mean, I feel the hamstrings while doing it big time, and the hamstrings will cramp afterwards sometimes. But I feel it in the hip extensors also, in the abductors. So I feel like I need that to be stronger. But how much of that is also glute? Because glute contributes a lot to that strength through that area. And if my glutes need more work, then we might as well do more work. Now, these went good and bad today. Considering that my upper back felt really, really a bit beat up from the safety bar squats, I felt like these were going to be harder today. Yet the first set I got 12. And then I believe I got like 12 again, right? We did good for 2 sets. And normally after speed work, what did I do last time on the speed day? I got 11 reps on just one set and stopped. Now I was able to get a little bit better on max effort day, but we didn't do as much work first. So on this, to get 2 good sets, and then the third set, I straight up hit muscle failure. I don't know how many reps in I was, halfway into the set. I was hoping to get 10 to 12. I was hoping to get 10 to 12 and maybe rep 5 or 6 or something. I don't know. I'd have to actually look at it in the footage coming up. It just hit the wall. My upper back just gave out, and I hit the safeties and just climbed out from under it, hit the safety straps. And that's also something I have ordered for the rack upgrade, is the actual slings that go across too. So I'll have actual bars with the covers that go over the bars. So it's not just metal and metal when I want to do certain stuff. I'll have the slings. So I'm going to be able to do isometrics in the rack. which is going to, again, help certain things with my training. But even this set went really good. But my upper back on every one of these just felt hammered so stupidly hard. That's when I realized for now, I can work on the other stuff. These alone are going to just hammer my upper back. And keeping in mind, these are PRs. I think before my best ever with the safety bar, I want to say was like 215 for 10. I've been able to get 245, because that's what's on the bar now, for 12s. Now, I haven't got to 3x12 yet, but we will. I haven't got it for all 3 sets yet. But this is still like a 30-pound PR with 2 more reps over my best previous. Okay, so we know it's getting stronger. It's stronger than it was. My good mornings in general are way stronger across the board. So that's going to carry over to all my lifts. But this set, man, it just, there's like 3 reps done. Maybe get 4. And then what do we get? 5th rep, I failed. Yeah, my upper back just gave out. And it's just like, look at me, I'm just like, oh my God, it was cramping. So we're hammering it really hard. I think just this lift combined with the safety squats for speed work is going to get me there. And I may rotate with the cambered bar. Took me a couple sets to get back in the groove here. So I know that these carried over massively to my deadlifting before. These are what helped me push past the 600 originally. They helped my deadlift lockouts. Like, look how powerful I was on the lockouts when I've just started cresting 600 again compared to now. My lockouts are softer. My grip just needs the extra work, which we've been hammering. And I'm really good out of the bottom. Like, I'm hitting those big deficit lifts. 625 off a deficit. So now I've got to make sure the glutes can lock it hard. So I'm adjusting my stance. I'm going to make sure my glutes are strong. Make sure that grip is strong. But this is 425. This was tough. 3 sets of 10. Well, the last couple sets didn't feel as bad. The first set I had to get in the groove. I've done 505 for sets of 10. So I'm going to ramp these back up, and we're going to set that as a benchmark again to get up to that and then increase. Because if we want the deadlift to go up, we need to go up proportionately. Right? What do we need to set a goal as? I don't know, something like 550. Actually, we'll make it a nice round number, 555. 10% increase on that. Why? Because that would represent a 10% increase in performance in those muscles. Well, that's what I need over the deadlift. Because when I was doing it with that weight, I pulled 615 really clean and easy at the top. Okay? So we're going to keep adding to that. We're going to rebuild that lift back up. And that's going to be my staples. What more do I need besides my sled dragging and plyometrics, right? Hanging leg raises for my abs. Variations of the good morning, particularly using whatever one hits my weakest links the best, which right now is going to be the safety squat. Okay. Glute ham raises. Glute bridges, and then the reverse hyper. So I'm going to take these 2 different lifts that I've used at different points, these different lifts that have built my deadlift to different points, and then I took them completely out and excel on all of them. Okay. Glute ham raises and good mornings are at the strongest they've ever been, no matter what bar I use for the good mornings. I need to get that glute bridge back up. And then those reverse hypers are really good where they are even now. I can start working those up further. Okay. This is how we hit the deadlift goals. Like, I'm going to crush my deadlift goal for the year, which is 650. I'm going to try to blow past it. Okay? Try to blow past it while continuing to slowly lose weight. We're going to try to get down to 210 or less by the end of the year. It might be a little lofty. If not, we'll get close. We'll get under 215 while still gaining strength, as long as I cut slow. And eventually I'm going to have to set 210 as my upper cap weight. I can't really go over that in the long term. So that I can always drop down later and do 198. I think people know where I'm going with this. Anyone who's bothered to dig through world records and world rankings, considering my age and where I'm going to be here shortly. And I don't mean specific federations, I'm talking everywhere. Don't look at the numbers. Pretty obvious what I'm trying to do. right? It's pretty obvious I'm trying to break a deadlift world record. So, and it's totally feasible. Like, I don't even think it's going to be out of reach. So, I'm on that harder setting. I was only able to get 16, 15, and then 10 with this new really hard setting because my knees are up on top of the pads now. And I'm about out of setting space. I got 20, then 20 again, and they were hard. And then I got 15, and 15 was a grinder. Okay, so this is now on by far the hardest setting I've ever used. Actually, the last setting I had was the hardest setting I had used previously, and I got up to 5 sets of 20. Now we've moved it up another notch. So we're not just down at the base of it with my knees above the brackets at the bottom. I don't even touch those bases when I get up to the top. I'm up on the pads now. Okay, and now we're doing sets of 20. And I'm going to try to get to 3 sets of 20. And then when we get to 3 sets of 20, we try to add more. Keep building those hamstrings and those hips. Keep moving forward. Keep improving. Keep getting better. And I don't record all my stuff. People probably wonder, what else do I do? Well, I mean, I do some of my mini workouts in between some of these things. Like I did the neck work and a little bit of grip training and all that in between some of this while recovering between sets. Because, I mean, I take at least 3 minutes between sets. I'm not going to pretend I do these a minute apart. Okay, any of this stuff. There's at least 3 minutes between sets. And that's normal. That's what you want, unless you need a reason for work density. So I did some other stuff in between and some rear delts. And I'll do some abs and triceps and grip today later. So I'm trying to do grip somewhat on all of my main training days to some extent, other than if I'm going to deadlift the next day, I avoid it on Mondays. So I really try to do grip work, a lot of grip work on Tuesdays and Fridays. Okay. I try to do some on Wednesdays. You know, I'm trying to keep my grip work in the middles of the week though, because if I'm going to have a max pull, like I'm going to do a max pull of some type this coming Tuesday, I need to build as much grip strength as I can and then let it recover. But we're getting PRs there. So we know that we've got goals. We've got to get the deadlift up in every aspect of the deadlift. And I feel like I'm stronger at the lockout with the stance I'm messing with now. Last time I did the speed work, I'm going to do the glute bridges. And I have a feeling those glute bridges are going to come up real fast like they did before. And once I'm there, then, you know, we know that we're solid for a conventional PR. But I'm going to get that sumo back up too. Okay, I need my sumo over 600 again. So I've only pulled 600 off a 2-inch block before on sumo. But we need to pass that. I need to pull over 600 off the floor with a sumo also. So we're going to work all of it. And the sumo stuff will carry over to the squatting. But I feel like these are the lifts that are going to get me there for all my lower body stuff. This is what's going to get my squats and deadlifts up, the stuff I'm doing. All right, we're going to get there. And we're going to get there while continuing to lose body weight and body fat. And we already know what I'm doing with the upper body. The bench plan is in place. I've looked at all my strength standards of what I did in the months leading into that bench PR before the shoulder inflammation. And I can replicate and rebuild and surpass all those lifts. And when I pass all those supplemental lifts, I know that we're good for a PR. When my floor press and my strict press reach a certain threshold, I know I'm there. And we'll just do the tons of tricep work in between. And I'm going to keep doing the closed grip with chains as a main tricep lift instead of smaller movements during the main workouts. And I'm going to just do tons and tons of band press downs for restoration to get a single joint in and get an enormous amount of tricep volume. But we're going to have to bring everything up. Everything's got to be equally strong. I've got to have pecs, delts, triceps. Everything has to be strong. If I want a good bench, if I want a bench that can hang with my squat and deadlift, that's going to have to happen. So we're going to get there, guys. Day by day, rep by rep, workout by workout, meal by meal. So I'm really happy with this workout overall. I got everything I wanted to do in it. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.